Welcome, everybody, to the Genesis Mindset. Today, I want to be talking about zero trust. And this episode is about honoring zero trust and building this relationship that I feel blossoming in my heart with zero trust. So I'm one of the five guardians. And it's something that, honestly speaking, I was a little reluctant to be so public about it. But just recently, I've changed my Twitter profile picture in support of the 555 and in support of zero trust. And this for me is it's kind of a reciprocal thing because of the fact that they're getting behind the pDAI conference, but it's not doing it because they're getting behind the pDAI conference. It's the vibe that they're getting behind the pDAI conference with. It's something that I'm resonating with. And so because I'm resonating with it, I also want to get behind zero trust. And then I saw Gerardo just today as well through his support behind zero trust. So this is really something that I think is going to continue to blossom with Pulsechain. They have an amazing amount of content on their next Pulsechain Nexus website. And I'm going to go through one of those today. And basically, I just want to honor this relationship. So far, like I said, loving the atmosphere, loving the community, but you should also verify everything. That's the spirit with which you should be doing everything. This is the zero trust spirit. So I'm going to go through a particular article, which is the ethos of zero trust. And I also want to go through another particular article about pDAI because they're getting behind the pDAI conference. I want to go over one of their articles to show you the quality of their articles from back in 2024. So let's get into it. So here is my updated Twitter profile. So you can see the Pulsechain DAI conference ring around it. It's so good, the ring. It's actually so good. The pDAI logo, the peg, it's so good. So this pDAI logo, peg, I'm hoping for it to evolve over time. So currently the major narrative is around pegging. What if this changes? What if there is no peg? What if it gets to $1? What if it goes beyond $1? Who knows? How is this going to change? This logo itself is going to be something that will evolve over time. So bear that in mind. And this, I wanted to keep the essence of basically the particular picture that I had before, which for me just really, it really captured everything that I've been trying to do. And I didn't want to deviate from that too much. But with this whole idea of the 555 Guardians and getting behind your archetype, I almost felt like this exemplified my archetype. So I really wanted to upgrade the picture. The old picture was a little bit like low quality. So I upgraded it. I added this logo to it. It took me hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, but I really I love it. I love it. It's even better than before. So I'm super happy about it. So thank you to the 555 Guardians. Thank you to this idea of the archetypes, because this has really made me and helped me embrace everything about this community. So zero trust. I want to start off with this particular article written by Roman Wilder. So the reverse rug, exposing fake DeFi and redirecting the masses. Together, Pulsechain Nexus and ZeroTrust form a strategic communications ecosystem. One handles the intelligence and education. The other deploys it at scale using memes, videos, and high-velocity social content. Really wrap your head around what this is. This is why I love this. We want Pulsechain to explode, do we not? If it's going to explode, we really need all these kinds of ingredients here. High velocity social content, scaling using memes and videos. And obviously we had the competition for the memes, which was a few Mondays ago now. And I hope everybody was satisfied with that. I thought they handled it very well. So zero trust isn't just a meme. It's the operational wing of the Pulsechain Nexus, a coordinated strategic task force that uses viral video, memetic warfare, deep research, and layered onboarding tactics to expose fake DeFi and redirect users to trustless infrastructure. It all revolves around one central mission: to protect the future of DeFi by guiding users back to immutable code, open source truth, and self-custody. This is exactly what DeFi should be. This is exactly what it was born to be. But now, really, it's deviated away from this. The direction that it's going now is not the direction that true DeFi wants to emerge as. So this is where the importance and the significance of these types of movements in redirecting it into the future that it needs to be in. For me, it's it gives me energy just being a part of it because it's such an important part of what DeFi is. This is why I got into cryptocurrency in the first place. One of the major reasons why is because I saw it as an escape from the stranglehold of the old financial system, the banking cartels, which seemed to have the whole world by the throat. And I didn't like that. I didn't like the lack of freedom. I didn't like the lack of sovereignty. I didn't like how everything was basically skewed towards a linear direction up to the top. The wealth gap is increasing. There's all these major issues. But now that system, those collections of people are trying to weasel their way into decentralized finance. And I don't think that we can coexist, but they shouldn't strangle out what we're trying to do either. That's really the main critical point. So what is a Pulsechain Nexus? This is the information nerve center, the platform where we publish long-form articles, expose chain corruption, explain what trustlessness really means, and track trends. All insights are tailored toward onboarding users into the Pulsechain ecosystem via understanding, not hype. It's where the research lives, where the clarity starts, and it's the ultimate destination for those seeking real decentralization. And I think this is really where it resonates with me a lot, is because it's about research and it's not about the hype. It's not about, oh, this is going to pump and then it's just going to dump. This is everything that's wrong with decentralized finance. It has nothing to do with decentralized finance, actually. It ends up just being another vehicle for basically people to get manipulated and used for exit liquidity, for people who can push the markets around. And for me, that's not what I'm in DeFi for. That's not what I care about. I care about the whole. I care about all of us winning together and creating a better system and a better future for the whole entire planet, not just for a percentage of people. ZeroTrust Memetic Task Force. This is the aggressive outreach arm where the virality happens. We craft short videos, high impact memes, and satirical content targeting users on other chains like Solana, Sui, XRP, Base, etc. It's smart, strategic, designed with NLP and subtle redirects, so neuro-linguistic programming. It makes people laugh, think, and then question what they're actually investing in. And I suspect that there's a lot of AI that's behind this. And even these articles as well, some people have criticized the articles as just being, well, ChatGPT. To me, that's totally okay. I use ChatGPT for the things that I write, for the things that I do. I think it's the intelligence that goes behind it that's still important. This is really what people are misunderstanding, in my opinion, about large language models. Yes, they can produce this content, but there still needs to be a mind behind it that's directing it. And the director behind it is what's important. And the director behind this movement is something that I see as very, very significant. So the Trustless Index, our Trojan horse. The Trustless Index is a public-facing scoreboard that ranks chains based on immutability, validated collusion, admin control, and trustless principles. It looks like a simple rating tool, but it's actually a deep educational funnel. Users arrive curious, then get a wake-up call when they discover their investment supports upgrade keys and centralized fail-safes. So there's supposed to be a trustless scoreboard here, but I suppose it hasn't been updated yet, but we will see something like this in the future. Once the hook lands, each chain listing links to a deep dive article hosted on the Nexus. From here, we walk them out of the trap and into truth. At this point, they're no longer degen scrollers, they're learners. This is the important part. And obviously, okay, yeah, we can sit here and think, well, people don't really care about these things, but deep down, the right people will. And if this movement, if decentralized finance is going to be the finance of the future, which I believe that it will, then this is going to just naturally occur. And so what we're doing is we're positioning ourselves at the forefront of that and directing that movement towards the right avenues, towards the right direction. And I think that's very, very important. I don't expect that all of a sudden we're going to have every single person that's going to be following the Pulsechain Nexus within the next few weeks. Once marketing starts to go out, everything happens via a process. Zero, the meme with a mission. Zero is the carrier, the attention magnet. It fuels the memes, incentivizes the movement, and creates an emotional connection. It allows us to fight memes with memes, but ours are grounded in strategy and truth. Obviously, at the moment, they're all just nameless JPEGs, and we've seen the degeneracy with which these JPEGs have been created, and probably the filth and the rot For example, there was an instance a few weeks ago where there was a terminally ill cancer patient who basically got rugged. I mean, this is the kind of disgust that happens in that system. And we don't want any of that within a truly decentralized financial system. We want people to take care of each other and to love each other and for the code to be righteous. That's what I want anyway. Those are the things that I'm fighting for. So while other meme coins stand for chaos or idiocy, Zero stands for truth, trustlessness, and DeFi's original purpose. Think of it as an in-house propaganda weapon, coded for precision, impact, laced with education, and backed by strategy. The funnel is clean, the trap is obvious. Our content lives outside the Pulsechain echo chamber. Brilliant. It's designed for Ethereum users. Brilliant. We have the world's largest free airdrop. Solana gamblers, so the people who become disillusioned with the gambling. Avalanche pre-sailers, Sui whales. It speaks their language, disarms them, and flips the scripts. All of this is brilliant. This is exactly what you need to do with marketing. You need to target the specific people that are specifically doing those specific things. A Solana gambler is going to have a different thing that's going to impact his psychology than an Ethereum user or an Avalanche pre-sailor or a Sui whale. They're all going to have different things that influence their psychology to take action. And this is really brilliant. And I believe that this marketing arm is really going to hone in on that. And I probably almost guarantee that it would. Every piece of content, from a satirical video to a spicy meme, is built with the embedded, well, here we go, is built with the embedded NLP techniques that subtly direct viewers to the trustless index. And once they're there, there's only one way forward: deeper understanding. From there, so basically you've got the hook, and then you've got the study, you've got the learning, the research. From there, they're offered a free Nexus trial subscription, weekly articles straight to their inbox, truth bombs, chain comparisons, real talk about what crypto was supposed to be. All of this builds trust and connection. Eventually, they're invited into our private Telegram. It's curated, spam-free, and full of sharp minds. From there, most choose to stay on with a paid Nexus subscription because the value is obvious. And I also personally have a paid Nexus subscription because I'm part of the 555. So this is strategic onboarding, not shilling. What we're doing here is bigger than token marketing. It's ecosystem triage. The majority of crypto investors don't even understand what decentralization means. This is very true. We're not mocking them. We're meeting them where they are, then guiding them forward where they need to be. Zero trust is how we get their attention. The trustless index is how we give them a wake-up call. The Pulsechain Nexus is how we educate them. And Pulsechain itself is what they eventually discover. A true home for trustless code, sovereign tools, and real yield. Crypto was invented to remove human beings from the equation. If you have to trust it, it's not DeFi. Zero Trust is here to restore the original vision. That was one particular article that I just wanted to go through to set the scene for what the Nexus is. And so the next piece of content that I'm going to share with you, I'm just going to leave them in the description. So I strongly recommend you check them out for yourself. I won't play them here. There's 2 articles with video. So there's just a paragraph and then video. So I strongly recommend those 2 articles because one of them is a great onboarding tool that you can basically send to somebody who's afraid of what DeFi and cryptocurrency means. And another one really shows the heart of Richard Heart. So I'm not going to show them. I've got the links in the description. I'll show you the Richard Heart one just so you can see what it is. So you can see, well, this is great. I can send this to one of my friends because it's simple. There's not a lot of reading. There's a video and it will show you who Richard Heart is. If they have questions about the founder, this is where they should be getting directed. If they go and Google it and then they see all that crap, then they're getting misinformed. What do we know about Richard Heart? It's completely different to what everybody projects Richard Heart to be in the wider crypto market. So we want to start pushing the right kind of a message and these kinds of messages as well. If you're a content creator, if you're someone that writes these articles on your website, these are the kinds of places you should be backlinking to so that we can strengthen this core of network marketing together. So I'm just going to show you the Richard Heart one. Like I said, check out both. Both will be in the description. Richard Hart's Power Principles, Redefining Wealth, Purpose, and Legacy. So I just want to show you, it's a paragraph. Richard Heart doesn't just speak, he ignites. This intense mix of his most powerful insights hits hard, challenging us to break free from mindless competition, confront hidden evils, and build a legacy that outlasts us. Get ready to feel the heat of his message and rethink what it means to live with purpose and power. And so this is one of Richard Hart's favorite quotes. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, press on, was solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. And it's just a 2-minute video. So that's it. This is the kind of thing that you can send to people to show them who this founder of this blockchain is. And I have to say, it really touched my heart. I watched it and it was brilliant. It's Top Hat Richard. It's Richard from pre-crypto days. I never knew this Richard. I never followed his content then. So to really see the man back then to who he is now, like that's who he is. That's who he actually is. And all this other stuff that we see now is really like, I sympathize and understand the strategy behind his messaging. And I feel really sorry for him because he really tried to do it this way. But in this world, you have to really make noise to get noticed because the world is so full of noise and so full of garbage. So definitely recommend sending these to your friends and family who you're trying to show what Pulsechain is. Show them from the right route. Don't let them look for themselves and then see absolute trash garbage because the internet is full of lies. So show them from the truth. Speaking of truth, the Zero token. So this is the Zero token. So for me, this is inconsequential. Okay, great. There's a token. Fantastic. There has to be a symbol behind it. And then this is the symbol. So this is where this symbol comes from. So symbolically, the 555, this is what this is all about. Putting this here. So, oh man, even putting the little glow on there, it took me, I think, like 3 hours just to make this image in the way that I wanted it. But I'm so stoked on it. So yeah, the symbology is very important because it's something that straight away the mind can connect with. So the zero, the symbology, the launch, it wasn't fantastic, but I don't agree necessarily with the criticism that Dirty Crypto had for it. The essence of the conversation that he was having basically was around the fact that he was waiting all day to buy so that he could essentially dump the tops and get a good profit out of it. And he was pissed off that he wasn't the one that was able to do that. I don't know about all the other hidden things behind it, but that was the tone, that was the vibe that I got from what he was saying. And so, yeah, that's the game, man. That's the game. Anything that happened here, I don't really know, but this basically looks very similar to me to almost every launch on Pulsechain. It looks like the Pulsechain launch. It just looks like a lot of launches. So from the bottom, you've doubled your money if you bought the bottom. So again, I'm not really too interested in the token side of things. It's great that there's a token. It's done 38.38% in the last 24 hours. That's brilliant. That's fantastic. This to me is inconsequential, but this to me is what gives people the emotional attachment, which is really, really important. But I just want to point this out that, again, do your own research, but I do not necessarily agree with the criticism that was directed to it and the reasons for the criticism that was directed to it. It has been resolved. It has been answered extensively by the team. And so you should do your own research and find it out for yourself in the spirit of what ZeroTrust is about. Don't just blindly buy this token. Don't just blindly listen to me. Don't just blindly listen to ZeroTrust. Make your Dirty Crypto. Make your own mind up. Go read his thread. Do some research. Read what ZeroTrust is about. Actually do the research for yourself. You got to stop just listening to people on YouTube, because people on YouTube and Twitter and influencers, they get things wrong too. We get things wrong too. And I'm very open about this. So you should do the research for yourself. That's what it should be all about. Okay. The Pulsechain Nexus. So before we get into the pDAI stuff, it's just a wealth of amazing articles. I've spent hours on this at night and I've not gone through all of it, but basically I'm trying to work my way from the bottom up, and there's things on, I mean, it sounds like the day I died before dying and laughed into the void. So she had some kind of enlightened experience. Basically lots of articles about Richard Hart, about Pulsechain, about Hex, world movements, things with the SEC, obviously Richard Hart. There's a lot of mind stuff. So discover the untapped power of Florence Scovel Shin. So I'm going to do some videos on these, but I strongly recommend you go check them out. The hidden agenda behind UK immigration. So there's lots of really interesting articles here which can capture different kinds of audiences. And yeah, like I said, it sounds like there's elements of it that definitely have ChatGPT, but I use ChatGPT to write a lot of my stuff too. But again, it's about the director that's behind it, which is the main point. So now I want to read this, finish up on this. So the perfect storm called pDAI. And actually, one of the main reasons why I wanted to get behind this is because one of the things that we did for the pDAI conference was we didn't want to accept sponsorships. So Liberty Trust came to us and offered sponsorship if we promoted Liberty Trust, Liberty Swap. And I didn't want to do that. And there was people in the team that said we should do that. And I said, no, we shouldn't do that. If this movement, this pDAI movement is to succeed, we need to keep money out of the equation. Otherwise, it ends up just being the same problems that we have in the current financial system transplanted into this new system. I want to get rid of sponsorships. No sponsorships. I saw the kind of backlash that poor old Matty Allen had with one of his Pulsechain Hex conferences with sponsorships. And I think that there's some validity to that because it should be kept pure. But what I do love about this is we've basically done a give and a give. So we've said, look, we appreciate what you're trying to do and we appreciate any help that you can offer, but we can't sponsor you in that way. But we're happy to give you a time slot where you can talk about how your protocol, how your project benefits pDAI, because it's a pDAI or p-stables movement that we're actually talking about here. We don't want to muddy the waters with information and hidden agendas and different kinds of finances and sponsorships and things like this. And they agreed to still get behind us. So for me, I have a lot of respect for that because they're getting behind the ethos of the movement. And I love that. So that was really one of the main reasons why I've really started to go heavily behind ZeroTrust, because of that intention that they have. Even without us giving them like an official sponsor, they're still getting behind the conference. And I think that that is fantastic. That's a testament to what the 555 are. So let's go and read this article. The perfect storm called pDAI, a true native stablecoin, is the keystone. It becomes the grease for DEXs, the foundation for loans, and the ballast for holding value without running to bridged assets. There's something quietly beautiful about a stablecoin that doesn't beg permission, one that lives and breathes on chain, collateralized by the assets of the ecosystem it serves, bound not by banks or boardrooms, but by code. I should also, again, this is November the 4th, 2024. A lot has changed with pDAI. So just keep that in mind as we go through this. For Pulsechain, pDAI wouldn't just be a token, it would be the spine, a native unit of account, a heartbeat that stays calm when everything else thrashes. That's interesting. This is a spine. The other thing was a nerve. No bridged risks, no reliance on USDC's whim, just a homegrown dollar-denominated asset built from the ground up to serve Pulsechain's unique architecture and ideals. And now, what once felt like a dream, a theory, a whisper, is starting to take form. This is what the conference is all about. It's all about nurturing and honoring all the different perspectives of pDAI, the consciousness of pDAI, and letting pDAI take the form that it should. This is something that's going to be fundamental to the whole conference, which is why I really love the way that it's developing. So from rumor to runway, we all heard the legend, a maker-style vault, a peg held by math, not market makers. Nice story. Then the chain detective started surfacing wallet trails that matched that very architecture. Vaults funded, collateral shifting, flash loans nudging a token called pDAI toward the $1 line. Once you see those breadcrumbs, it's hard to unsee them. And for those of us who've been here since the early days of Richard Hart's mind-bending monologues and future-facing rants, it clicks. This would, of course, be quiet. It would, of course, be misunderstood, because this is how he moves. He doesn't build hype, he builds inevitability. He spoke about nation states long before the idea felt plausible. He dissected Luna long before it collapsed. He knew the direction of the world years before it showed up at our front doors. So the idea that pDAI might be a silent engine already turning isn't just believable, it's obvious. But don't expect a smooth road. Many got in early, some probably hold too much. So if you're expecting a clean chart or a drama-free launch, you haven't been paying attention. There will be FUD storms, volatility, even shakeouts designed to flush the impatient or unworthy. That's part of the theater. That's what makes pDAI beautiful and thrilling uncertainty. Now, don't forget, this article was written before Richard Hart publicly fighted the absolute crap out of it. So you need to keep this in mind. So again, I'm trying to be as objective and neutral as possible on this pDAI. And I really want pDAI to become what pDAI is destined to become, if it's destined to become anything. Not just they're going to do it. There's this team there, or it's going to be the Atropa ecosystem, which is my bias. It shouldn't be any of those things. It should just be what it's going to be. That is the most important thing about pDAI, in my opinion. The community should come together, and out of that culmination of minds, it should emerge what the truth is of pDAI. How it might hold the peg. Minimum 150% collateral in Pulsechain native assets. Automatic liquidation to protect the peg. No fiat, no middlemen, just algorithmic balance anchored in cryptographic truth. In short, no company, no permission, no rescue, just the chain, the code, and the courage to believe in it. Why this would matter. A true native stablecoin is the keystone. It becomes the grease for dexes, the foundation for loans, the ballast for holding value without running to bridged assets. If it works, it unlocks on-chain stability, protocol-to-protocol liquidity, a new layer of belief in Pulsechain as a full-stack financial zone. Imagine waking up during market chaos and seeing pDAI holding the line, uncorrelated, unshaken, backed by what you already trust. This is no longer about speculation. It's about civilizational software. Don't just watch, recognize. This isn't about hype or tribal optics anymore. It's about infrastructure. If Pulsechain is going to be more than just another layer one, it needs its own stable foundation. A dollar-denominated asset that's native, decentralized, and immune to bridge fragility. That's not a luxury, it's a requirement. For those who understand what a true DeFi ecosystem needs to thrive, pDAI isn't optional, it's inevitable. We're not following breadcrumbs just for fun. We're recognizing what must exist if Pulsechain is to rise beyond speculation and become a sovereign financial layer. This has been one of the major driving forces behind the movement of pDAI, in my opinion. The whole pDAI to $1 as an investment thesis and an investment vehicle, fantastic, great. Let's all get rich together. But this, we're recognizing what must exist if Pulsechain is to rise beyond speculation and become a sovereign financial layer. It's about sovereign exchange of value. That's what pDAI represents. More than anything, 100% censorship resistance, 100% ownership, 100% DeFi. This is what it's all about. Now, have all the issues been resolved? We don't know. We'll find out these things at the pDAI conference. The quiet ones already know. The reality is, if this is pDAI, then of course it was going to be misunderstood. Of course it would attract noise, early holder drama, and surface level dismissal. That's how real things move in a space built on speculation. But some of us aren't speculating anymore. We're observing, we're connecting the dots. And I would add to that, we're feeling something here. We're not hoping, we're aligning. Because if pDAI is what it appears to be, then Pulsechain just became more than a chain. It became a zone, a settlement layer, a sovereign layer. And that's the kind of shift you don't announce. That's the kind of shift you live through. Like I said, that article was written a few months before the pDAI FUD. So take everything with a grain of salt. Do your own research. Make your own assessment. It's not. The pDAI conference is not even supposed to be about a shilling of pDAI. It's not even supposed to be about, hey, we're going to do this conference and then we're going to get to 10 cents. It's not even about that. If we get a price pump, fantastic. But it's not about that. It's really about fostering and nurturing this community that's blossoming within Pulsechain, and whether or not this movement can fulfill itself as being the right kind of movement to harbor what pDAI could potentially be. That for me is the reason and purpose why I do everything that I do in relation to pDAI. Yes, I've got bag bias, but now the purpose is way beyond that for me. It's about the mission. It's about what it represents. It's about what it means. A sovereign exchange of value. You own it. So with that, thank you very much, everybody that's watched so far. Thank you very much, ZeroTrust. I hope this gives you an insight into what ZeroTrust are about. I hope you start to trust ZeroTrust, not because I say, but because you read for yourself, because you resonate with the content, because you vibe with what they're trying to put out. That's how you should determine it. It should be based on research. It should be based on connecting the dots for yourself, not just blindly trusting anyone on the internet. This is not the way that we should be doing research anymore. This is not the way that we should be doing cryptocurrency anymore. We have the whole world at our fingertips. You have artificial intelligence at your fingertips. You can do elite level research with artificial intelligence at your fingertips. So use it. It's a tool. Use it. Help it help you to make your decisions. Is ZeroTrust trustworthy? Make that decision for yourself. And so with that, thank you, ZeroTrust. Thank you to the 555. Thank you for all the support and for the pDAI conference. If you do believe in it, if you want to get behind it, get behind it. Share the tweets, attend, donate. I'm not even going to say donate. Give to the conference the X badges. The X badges will boost pDAI's standing on X. That's what it's really all about. We want to give those badges to people which will boost their impressions on X. That's the important part. It's about the messaging, about expanding the outreach to beyond Pulsechain. It has to go beyond Pulsechain if it's really going to succeed, if it's really going to work. But don't think of it like donating. Donating is like, oh, I'm sacrificing something of mine to give to others. No, you're giving to yourself. You're giving a piece of you to the whole of you. That's how you should be looking at it. So if you don't want to do it, that's perfectly fine. But $1, $5, $10, and don't do it that, oh, Liberty Swap's going to cover it. That's the wrong mindset. That's expectation. For me, that's disgusting. And I think that that's a terrible, terrible attitude to have. And if you can't give because you can't give, that's perfectly okay. But don't do it with the mindset that, oh, Liberty Swap's going to do it, so I'm not going to do anything. That is completely the wrong attitude to have. And it's really something that I want to keep out of pDAI. If that's what pDAI is going to become, then it's just let it go to zero as far as I'm concerned, because we're basically transplanting the old consciousness into this beautiful thing which can blossom, and it would be horrible. So let's really do it with the right consciousness. So with that, take care, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you at the pDAI conference.